Welcome back. Welcome. I'm Mr. Bitcoin Maxi. We're all Bitcoin Maxis. So Bitcoin is crashing. And I know a lot of people might be fearing 35K, hearing the bears calling for that. But I find myself hitting the record button. I want to inspire you all and tell you all that it's going to be okay. Because a lot of people right now might see the red in the market, the fear in the market, and 35K if we hit 50K, you have to understand that right now, my core belief, my opinion on what's going on is that people, long-term holders, are getting fatigued. Now, I say that because I've been seeing videos regarding that. There's this one guy that went to a Bitcoin conference, and I believe it was in Asia recently, and people, when he was talking to them, people were long-term holders, and they were saying, well, I just really want to get out of the market. And it's crazy, too, to think that you buy Bitcoin, you're a long-term holder of it, but then you want to get out of the market. In my opinion, what else are you going to put your money into that's going to grow? I mean, cash is losing value. Cash is getting inflated by the day. Real estate is no longer a good investment, in my opinion. People think that they own their house. They don't. You don't own your house. You have to pay property taxes, even if you pay off your mortgage, right? So, what else are you going to put your money into? When you pay off your mortgage, you still got to pay the taxes. And if you don't, government takes your money. And so a lot of people don't understand that in order for us to get to a $1 million Bitcoin, for us to get to a $5 million Bitcoin, first, we got to get past $150,000, 200,000, 250, and so on, right? But in my opinion, what's going on, and this is what I really wanted to get into in the video, is there's a lot of market manipulation going on, and I think that's meant to cause the long-term holders to get fatigue and sell, so these corporations, these institutions can go in there and buy more. And so, in my opinion, that's really what's going on. The market manipulation is meant to get people to get shaken out and to get fatigue. And so there's people out there like me, you might be one of them watching this, but you see these things as opportunities. And that's why you have to understand it's very important that when you dollar cost average into Bitcoin, you should also be saving money for emergencies, but you should also, not financial advice, but you should also be putting cash on the side in order to be able to buy these dips. Okay? And if we hit 35K, what the bears are calling, I'm telling you, I'll probably be the happiest man on this earth. I kid you not. Because to me, I'll be able to get a lot more Bitcoin for my dollars. I'll be able to get a lot more Satoshis for my dollars. And that's really what it's about. Because when Bitcoin gets more and more expensive, you're going to get less Satoshis for your dollar. And so right now, in my opinion, is the best time to be going in there, taking some of that savings that you've had and buying a little bit more Bitcoin. Now, we don't know if we're going to get to that $35,000, $50,000 price target next year that the bears are calling for. We just don't know what's going to happen. We can have something bullish happen where Bitcoin just skyrockets. We don't know. But time in the market is better than timing the market. And so, as a Bitcoin maximalist, I see these times as opportunity. And I'm not going to lie to you all. I hope it goes lower. I really do. Because then I can get more Bitcoin. I can go in there. If we hit 35K, I'll be able to get multiple hold coins, right? And so that's something that you have to understand, that when these holders are sitting here selling it and they're like, you know what, I'm getting fatigued, I'm getting out of the market, Bitcoin's not going to a million like everybody predicted, that's a good thing, because people like myself that have long-term horizons that possibly don't even want to sell their Bitcoin. I don't plan on selling my Bitcoin ever. I'm just being honest with you guys. I don't. I'll hand it off to my family for generational wealth, and that's my plan. Everybody's plan's different. You might be somebody that wants to cash out in 20 or 30 years or 40 years or whenever you retire, depending on how old you are watching this video. Everybody's got a different plan, right? And it's not, I shouldn't say that it's wrong to, for those holders that are sitting there selling into the market, getting fatigue, because they might have had a different plan than you and I. They might have had a long-term plan, but might not have been as long-term as me or you. And that's the reason why it's important to recognize that these dips are how it goes from weak hands or short-term hands to long-term holders that have long-term horizons. And people that want to sit here and swing trade it and do all that, that's fine. But while they're out here losing money, we can be scooping it up. One thing that really opened my eyes to the market is meme coins. When I was in meme coins, I used to see that when the holders, I used to use Axiom for trading, and when the holders, right, would not go up, the current holders, they would actually get scared and get shaken out, and then they start selling, and it started a domino effect. Possibly that's what's going on with Bitcoin. I believe that is what's going on with Bitcoin. And I think that's what the manipulation is a part of. That's what the manipulation is possibly driving these people to leave and say, you know what, I'm done with Bitcoin. I want to get out of the market. But then, you know what's crazy is these people, and that's another thing that I noticed in meme coins, is these people will sit here and FOMO back in when it recovers. So you have to understand that Bitcoin will recover. It's only a matter of time. So would you rather be putting $100 into Bitcoin when it's 95,000, 80,000, or would you rather put $100 into Bitcoin when it hits like all-time high again, if it was like 125, 126? I would rather put that $100 when it hits 80,000, when it's lower, because I get more Satoshis from my stack. And a lot of people just, they don't understand that type of mentality, you know? And so, do I think Bitcoin will recover? Yes. Now, in 2026, I can't predict where we're going to go. All I can predict is that my strategy is going to remain the same and continuously dollar cost averaging and not being shaken out and not selling, because that's a taxable event. Even if you sell for a loss, you still have to report that, right? And crypto taxes can be very annoying. And so it's a good thing to just understand that you can't time the market. Now, some people good at it might have insider trading, for example. But another thing that I want to cover is, it's interesting that I was watching a video and this guy was talking about how there's wallets. There's these OG wallets that have had Bitcoin since the beginning pretty much, and they're sitting, and these wallets are selling almost the same exact time when Bitcoin hit its all-time high. And so some people are speculating that Satoshi Nakamoto selling with alt wallets. And you know what's crazy is, when I was in meme coins, that's actually something that happened. Something that happened was the dev, or the developer of the coin, would sell with alt wallets but keep the dev wallet untouched. Could we see that's going on? Who knows? But what remains true is Bitcoin will eventually get back to where it's meant to go. And I think, in my opinion, that's running the world, being the world's reserve currency. And I truly believe that. And so I'm going to stick with my conviction, because even when I was in meme coins, all my predictions played out. But I still had to understand that I got wrecked at times, you know? Sometimes I would hold and I'd be like, you know what, I need to sell. I didn't sell and I got wrecked. And so a lot of times these things are learning lessons for us that if we don't go through, we won't learn. And so me getting wrecked in meme coins made me learn nothing is better than Bitcoin, in my opinion. Now, there's only 21 million coins. A lot of you watching probably know that. So it's only a matter of time until Bitcoin gets into the right hands. And then people that are selling now are going to be buying later at higher prices. So I want to come on and make this video before I hit the gym. Be coming out with another video as well later on today. And I will see you all in the next video. I'm Mr. Bitcoin Maxi. And remember, we are all Bitcoin Maxis, not financial advice. But please, for the sake of your future, just buy Bitcoin. Just buy into this dip. Act now. I'll see you all in the next video, and I hope you all have a good day.